Hi guys, welcome finally to the tutorial proper. The first two episodes we had to do with the basics, some things we needed to know before we get into video editing proper. But starting from today, we'll be dealing with Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects. Alright, so we'll do Premiere, then we'll alternate with After Effects, then Premiere, then After Effects, then Premiere, to see which you want to learn and to see how you can catch up and learn. Remember, the goal is to simplify it as much as we can, to make it as simple as possible for everyone and anyone to understand what they are learning. Alright, so I believe you have the softwares. If you do not, you can contact me privately or send an email. Alright, and I will respond as soon as I see it. So without wasting time, let's hit the intro. So welcome back. We won't waste so much time today because we'll be getting into the basics of Premiere. We won't be editing the videos, but I will just introduce you to the interface and then what you should know about editing in Premiere Pro. Alright, so I'm going to open my software now. And I don't know what you might have heard, but I think, talking from experience, because I started learning After Effects first, but then later got into Premiere, and I think my knowledge of After Effects aided my easing into Premiere, into learning Premiere Pro. Alright, so I think, I beg to differ, I think Premiere is different. I mean, it's easier than After Effects. Alright, depending on what you want to learn, depending on how hard you want to go. So I think Premiere is easier than After Effects. Alright, so I have my software open now. If you're opening it for the first time, you should see something like this. I have my previous works. I have to blur them out so you can see them. My previous works will be showing. Then hello again. If you're opening it for the first time, you won't see anything there. Then hello again, have a great day. Then I can have new project and I have open project. When I open project, I'll open a recent project or one I've worked on before, or a template, an asset I download online. So that's what open project is. Then open Premiere Rush project, new team project, open team project. We won't be dealing with that for now. What a team project is you can be working, you can be collaborating with different people, working from the same server in quotes, or working from the same drive, and you're editing about the same footages. And people can be editing a scene, right? Some other set of people, or someone editing another scene, or someone can be editing, and as he's editing, you're coloring, or someone can be coloring as you're coloring. The person is editing music, so it's a collaborative work. That's what a team project does. And I think it has to be paid for specially. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. I think it has to be paid specially. So don't let me do a lot of talking. So once we have that, click new project. Now, you see name, see location. I can select the name I want. Premiere 1.0, because it's the first tutorial for Premiere we're doing. So I'll save it as Premiere 1.0. Then my location where I want the project to get saved. So my file explorer is opened. Now go to videos. Because of this tutorial sake, I want to save everything in shoot episode. Then let me just create another folder and call it episode 3, because I opened episode 3. Previous episodes, I have them here. Now something I've this also. Something I encourage every creative you're learning video editing to do is try and arrange your files. Now, so I know if I need anything from episode 1, if I need anything from episode 2, I know where to go, I know where to find my files. Alright, so episode 3 now, I'm saving my Premiere Pro file in my Premiere Pro folder. Alright, so I don't like any confusion at all. And if I have to locate something, it's quite easy to locate. Alright, so I think we should skip this part for now. Skip this part for now. And depending on the kind of system you're using, you can actually have Mercury Play Engine software only, or you can you end up based on You see render here, you can render based on a GPU acceleration. That's if you're using a system, the graphics card. Alright, that's a good GPU. So for now my system doesn't have, so I just use software only. So you can skip this display format, audio samples, and keep this and just carry on, Alright, so yeah, this is what we have now. I don't know how fast your system is, I don't know how slow it is at the same time, but the response of your software is dependent on the capacity of your system. Alright, I think that's important to mention, so you don't get frustrated and think it's you that has the problem, not knowing that it's your system that's giving the problem. So finally, this is what our interface looks like. For those that have opened it before, I know you know what it is already, and you might be seeing something different from this. Yeah, I'll explain that later. It's this one is already custom made. I just said one or two things here. Alright, so is it looking complex? I don't think so. Remember, I'm just introducing you to the interface in this video, and then we'll get into other things later. So you have file, you have edit, you have clip, you have sequence, you have markers, you have graphics, you have window, you have those selectables. They have their own functions. Right, so let me quickly introduce you to the panels. Now this is your project panel. What a project panel is whatever assets you're going to be using, whether video, whether images, whether audio, they're going to be in your project panel. That's why you have something like import media to start this, so you can import anything. There are about 3 ways to import. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. So you have your effects panel here. Now your effects panel contains all your effects. Alright, you can have your audio effects, your audio transitions, you have your video effects, you have your video transition. That's what the effect panel is. Then you have your effect control panel. Now what the effect control panel does is, so you apply an effect on a clip or on a video or an image. Now the effect you apply, it's here you come to this panel to tweak or adjust whatever parameters the effect has. Alright, for example, you apply a camera lens blur to just blur out a part. Now your blur can be set to 25. The higher the blur, the higher the number, the higher the blur is, so you can adjust that depending on what you want. That's what the effect control panel is. Alright, so let me go to this. You have your timeline. So your timeline is where you do all your editing. I don't know if I mentioned it in any of the 2 episodes. Your timeline is where you do all your editing, where you arrange your footages, you arrange your audio, you arrange everything, your cutting and your splitting and your cuts and everything. So that's where your timeline is. Your timeline usually comes in, you remember the J cut and the L cut we talked about? Yeah, this is where you see them. Your timeline usually comes in videos on top and audio below, for Premiere at least. Videos on top and audio below. Alright, so you can have different layers of videos, different layers of audios, also based on what you want your timeline to look like. So that's your timeline panel. Right, so you have your source now. What your source is, for example, remember your project panel, you bring in a footage. Let me bring in one for example. Remember I said that different ways you can import. Just get random, or let me use something from. Okay, this is our intro. I'm bringing my intro. I said that different ways you can import Premiere. Same thing with After Effects. So now I have my intro here. The intro we used for the previous 2 episodes. Now it's in here. What I did was okay, let me Ctrl Z. To import, I just had to double click. Alright, I double clicked, so I can Ctrl Shift Z to import back. Ctrl Z won't do, Ctrl Shift Z to redo. Talk about that later. So I said I double clicked here to import. Then I can also use Ctrl I, Ctrl Import, or I just go to my File Explorer and drag it over into Premiere Pro and drop it here. Same thing will happen. So I was trying to explain the source panel. What the source panel is you have a clip in your project panel, so you can double click on it, and when you double click on it, it's going to show in your source panel. Now your source panel is where you select your in and out points. Alright, so for example, my video is 18 seconds long. Now I wanted to start from 5 seconds. Now this is your time code. Yeah, as you move forward, the time increases. As you move back, it decreases. I want to start from 5 seconds, so I'm working with 500 or 429, depending on what I have. So I have 500 now. Alright, so I want to set my in points. I press I for in points. Alright, I want to set my out points at 6 or 700. Then I press O for out points. So that's basically what your source panel is used for. Used to monitor what you're working with. Alright, then used to set your in and out point if it's necessary. Okay, so that's what your source panel is used for. Now your program panel, or your sequence panel, now what it does is, remember your timeline. Since I've selected my in and out points from the source panel, now what I can do is I can drag I can just drag it to my timeline. No, okay, let me see what happens if I drag it first. Now I've dragged it. Let me undo it and show you something. I think I have to delete this. Alright, so now drop media here to create sequence. I can either come from my project panel and drag and drop on my timeline, alright, or since I have selected my in and out points from the source panel, I can just drag it, the particular point I want, and drop it here. Let's do the same thing. Alright, so yeah, that's it. So once I drop it on my timeline, now this is my program monitor, my program panel. Alright, so I see whatever it is I am doing. Now in this case, your source panel now is not functioning again because your timeline is working with your program panel. Alright, remember, if check this out now, your source monitor, if I scroll, it's the only thing that is scrolling, alright, because it's working independently. Well, if I come to my timeline and look at it, when I select my project panel, this blue outline, alright, it highlights where I'm working with. Alright, so same thing with my effects and controls. Now when I select my source, the blue outline highlights where I'm working with. Same thing with project. And when I select my timeline, it does the same thing. I said your timeline is working with your program monitor, alright, where you see whatever it is you're editing. So now if I scroll through, I can see what it is I am doing. Okay, that's about the panels. The other panels depending on what you're working with. Alright, so let me quickly explain. Alright, I said this might not be what you see when you open your software. The reason I said that is this is customized, so you have different layouts. You can customize your own layout. You can customize the kind of space. Your layout is what your software looks like. Alright, so you can customize the kind of space you want to work with. For example, you see something like learning here. Let me select it. I hope it doesn't take time to load. It usually does. Now this is I've customized this also, but it comes in a it looks something different. You can just realize now that it shouldn't look like this. Not timeline here, not timeline here. It's no mistake. Sorry. Let me see. Let me go back to assembly. When you do it for the first time, when you open the software, it usually takes time. Then go back to learning. So this is what learning looks like. This is what learning should look like if I have not customized it. Okay, now I think it's taking its shape. Alright, so this is what one layer looks like. This learning is just like you are new to it and you want a guideline or something. Learning good. Alright, so this is this learning now. It's a layout on its own. You realize my timeline. This is where my timeline is. Yeah, my source monitor has gotten bigger. My program monitor is still kind of maintaining its size. Now you can't find the project panel. Alright, you can't find the effects panel. You can't find the effect control panel now in this layout. Now I go back to my assembly. I have my project, I have my effect, I have my effect control panel. Alright, that's for assembly. And I go back to I go to editing. A different layout appears. This is the one you met when we first opened the software. Different layout appears, and I go to color. For color, since you're selecting color as your layout, it prioritizes color. Alright, prioritizes color. It assumes you want to instead of editing the code, it assumes you want to color. It assumes you want to color grade or color correct. So it prioritizes color. Now this is my color panel, elementary color palette, so I can tweak my colors and do everything here. Now the reason nothing is highlighted is because I do not have I didn't select my layer, alright, so it doesn't know what I'm working with. So once I select my layer, it's highlighted and I can come and do my basic tweaking here, but we won't be doing that at the moment. Alright, so that's that. Then your effects. Now gets to your effect, it prioritizes your effects. Also gets to your audio, it prioritizes your audio, graphics, and so on. Alright, I think it's still loading. Yes, it's still loading. So that's what your layout is. Now, for example, you're working on a big screen, a big monitor. You can have different elements showing at once, or have different panels showing at once. I remember the time I was working on 2 screens, and I moved my program monitor to one screen. All right, I moved my my audio meter to one screen. This is what my audio meter is. I moved my audio meter to one screen. This is what my audio meter is. Where if I play through, this is what my audio meter is. Yeah, just to show the levels you're working with. We'll get more on that later. So this is what paying attention to my effect is. Now these are your effects, all the effects you can apply. Alright, when I go to audio, it also prioritizes audio in this case. So this is what my audio does. I can have different layers of audio. Let's say I have another layer here, another layer here. I have 3 layers of audio, and when I play them, you can see this is playing as 3 layers of audio. Alright, so this is my audio meter. Now it prioritizes audio. So that's what your different layouts are. Alright, so I go back to editing, what we were working with before. I think I've mentioned the layout, I mentioned what I used for, I mentioned this is your audio meter again. Alright, so in your timeline you want to play, what you do is press space bar, then whatever it is you want to play, plays. Alright, so that's what you press in your timeline, or you can come to your program monitor, alright, you press space bar and same thing does. So if you're in your source monitor and you want to play to, you press space bar and same thing, it works for it. Or you can just use this pause or play. As for your source monitor, you pause or play for your program monitor. Now you can move. Alright, so let's say you're paused now, you can move forward 1 frame with this arrow, you can move backwards 1 frame with this arrow. Alright, so for example, you are watching something on your program monitor and you want to set something that looks like an in and out point, or markers, just to create mark. Now this is the point I am. Alright, let's say 1 minute 15 seconds. What am I saying? 1 second 15 frames. Alright, so you can just set this here. So what it does is it moves it to the last, and if I come here and I do the same thing, it moves it to the first frame. Alright, so this takes it to the last frame, this takes it to the first frame. Alright, so that's okay. I was saying you want to set in and out point, or you want to set like markers. So you use your mark in, alright, then you can use it as a mark out also, or you simply just do Ctrl Z and cancel that. You simply just do your I and O. Alright, so that's about the other functions. We'll see them as we continue working, but let me quickly mention this. You just want to mark a point on your timeline, and you want to mark a point, you see something you want to correct, and maybe you don't want to forget. So what you can just do is just click on here to create a marker, or simply press Ctrl N. Just press N rather. So these are the shortcuts. As we go further, we'll get used to them and we'll get accustomed to them, and they make your work easier. I promise you, they really make your work easier. That's about that. Talking about your layout, your panels. Alright, so that's about that. Now your tools. Your tools. Now this is your tool panel. All these tools are your tool panel. These are the basic tools you have in Premiere. In After Effects, it becomes a little bit more complex, in that I said in the first video that After Effects is your Photoshop of video editing, right? What a Photoshop looks like, what a CorelDRAW looks like, with a lot of tools, and you can create shapes, you can create masks, you can create text and everything, right? So the same thing can be done here, but that's its own dynamics also. Right? So this first tool now is a selection tool. Once you over on it, once you just put your cursor on it here, it shows what tool you're selecting. So this is your selection tool. So what the selection tool does is it makes you to select basically. So you can select whatever layer you want, you can select whatever it is you want, alright, or you can come to your program monitor and double click on it and you can select and move it wherever you want to move it. That's what the selection tool does. Now the next tool is track select forward tool, and the shortcut for select is V. So you can just press, let's say you're here and you want to go to a select tool, you can just press V and take you to the select tool. Alright, so the next tool is your track forward select tool. Now what this tool does now, it's very simple and then very important to if you want to keep working it. So I'm back on my selection tool. What I want to do is create more, just duplicate my layers basically. Alright, so please don't hang. Okay, so what I'm trying to do basically is just increase the number of clips I have just to show you what the track forward selection tool does. So what it does is, remember this is it and shortcut is A. So once I press A, it takes me to that tool. So what it does is, once you select a clip, it selects that clip. Once you click on the clip, select that clip and everything in front of it. So if I go back and I select this one, it selects this one and everything in front of it. Now I go back, I select this one and everything in front of it. That's where the track selection tool is. For example, let's say let me go back to my V, that is selection tool. I watch this clip and I discover that I didn't cut it well. I need to extend it a little bit more. What I can do is just select A. Alright, select next clip, move it forward, select V, then click on it and drag it a little bit more forward, and I can select A. Alright, then drag it back. So that's what your track forward selection tool is. Another way you can do it is just select somewhere empty and highlight wherever you want to move, and with your V you can move forward, or backward. But I think the track selection tool makes it easier depending on what you think. Alright, so the next tool is this is your ripple edit tool. What this does is your ripple edit is okay, I mentioned if you have, for example, a part that you want to elongate and how do I put now? What I did the other time to my track selection tool and my track forward selection tool. Alright. Excuse me. So what your ripple editing does is you want to reduce a particular part from a clip. Alright, please forgive the bells. You want to reduce a particular part from a clip. Let's say this clip right here. You can just, let me increase it. Go to the end of that clip and you reduce it, drag it backwards. And once you drag it backwards, it drags other parts of the clips or clip after that part. It drags it together, so it drags it as a whole clip. Now this is what I mean. Let's say this is the point I want to drag it to. Alright, so I reduce it this way and I drag it. Now it drags everything compared to, let's say the next tool we're going to use now. This is my blade tool. The shortcut is C. So I can select C to select my razor blade tool. Now what your blade tool does is cut basically. Alright, so compared to the ripple edit tool, now if I select my clip wherever I want to cut, I can just go there and select it. Alright, so I select V. Now I can select this and delete it. That's using delete key. Now if I right click here, I will do ripple edit, comes up, so I select ripple edit and it reduces the gap between it. Now all the process I just went through, I could have done it easily with my ripple edit tool. I can just do that and reduce it to the line I want and everything comes together. So your tools make your work easier if you know how to use them. Okay, now we've talked about the selection tool, talked about the track forward selection tool, we've talked about what tool now, the ripple edit tool, we've talked about the blade tool. Now the next tool is this, and this is your slip tool. So the shortcut is Y. Now what your slip tool is for example, remember we set our in and out point here to determine what we drag to our timeline. So what your slip tool is you can use your slip tool, just go to either the beginning or the end. I'm pressing plus or minus, so it's just zoom in and zoom out on my timeline. Alright, so what the slip tool does is since I've selected my in and out points, now if I select my clip and move it this way, it works. How do I explain now? Okay, let me do it this way. First of all, remember this is the beginning. I'm not showing. Let me use my selection. So okay, remember this is the okay. Let's say I think this is where we started using the other time. Okay, this is the beginning. So what my slip tool does is Y, alright, and I can move it forward or move it backwards. Alright, so now when I play it, it has gone forward on my timeline. Alright, or when I move it as moving forward, when I move it back, like I want it to go, say, to the beginning, to the very beginning of the clip. I've done that. It's the clip I'm working on. I want it, come on now. I want it to go to the very beginning of the clip. I keep moving it, and as you're moving it, alright, the first box on your program monitor that shows video is what you're working it at the moment. Then the next box beside it is where the time you are as you are moving it. Alright, so now I'm on video. Now it's moving to creative, moving backward, moving to the very beginning of the clip. So the video doesn't get too long. I think I have to move on. As we keep using it, we get to understand better. Alright, so my pen tool, this is I shouldn't talk about this for now. As we keep learning the software, we get to use it. Now my hand tool is basically hand, just to move stuff. Now this is fit. What it is 10%. This is what it looks like on your screen. 25% is what it looks like on your screen. 100% if you're on 100, maybe because you want to work on some details, you can just come here and press fit, and it works the magic and brings everything together. So what your hand tool does is okay, let me see, and put it on 10. It's supposed to move things on your program monitor, right? So you have, say, more than one layer. Alright, so your hand tool will be able to move things on your program monitor. Then your text tool creates text basically. So I can click on text tool. Let me have my feet. Click on text tool. You're already highlighting the text here. And I click on text. Just select your program monitor one. So text. It creates a box or a text layer. I don't know why it's not responding. It creates a box or a text layer that you're able to type whatever it is you want to type. Alright, so now this is my text layer. I can type whatever it is I want to type. Yeah, so that's it. That's typed, and it has come back to your timeline and it has created a layer for the text. Alright, so that's what your text tool does. Now just to save, I think I'm done with the introduction aspect. All these parts are something we can touch much later. I don't mind the video being long. Just make sure we understand, to make sure we're working together. Alright, so yeah, talking about saving your files. Now this is what we named the project we are doing. Now this star is because we have made a change and we have not saved it. So if I use Ctrl S now, it's going to save it and the star is going to disappear. Right, let me quickly talk about this. You have your file. You can create a new project or team project. I talked about team project or sequence. Now we're working with a sequence here, and our sequence is intro here. Alright, I remember I talked about frame rate and some other things. Yeah, I said when you create a sequence, then you have to determine your frame rate and your aspect ratio and all of that. I talked about that in the previous video, so I won't do much on that. We just carry on once we start editing proper. So you have this in your file. You have you have open project, open your previous project, open recent, save as, save, and code. Then your edit, you have undo, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Shift Z, cut, and so on. Then your clip, a lot of things you can do on your clip based on, for example, okay, let me show you. If I select here, remember nothing was highlighted before, alright, because I wasn't selecting anything. Alright, so now I select something, select a layer or a clip, then no, they're highlighted now and I can work with it. Alright, there's several things you can do here because you are editing, but if you're not editing, I don't think there's anything you can really do. Now your sequence, remember I said this is your sequence, intro here, whatever sequence you create appears here. So if you select a sequence, Okay, that should not show first. And your sequence has different things you can do with the sequence. All right, once you have a sequence open, there are different things you can do. Zoom in, zoom out, equals to, as plus or minus, then close gap. I have a lot of things there. Then you can open your sequence settings, and your sequence settings you set your frame rate, your video frame size, your aspect ratio, your pixel aspect ratio, your audio settings, your width and your height and everything. That's what you do with your sequence. Then your markers. I talked about creating in and out points using your markers, or you can just press M to add a marker. All right, and you can, once you have done that and you want to clear, because I don't have a marker now, I can select clear in, I can select clear out, or that and that. All right, so your graphics, this one comes when you're working with graphics too. Then your windows. All right, this is your workspaces. That, remember, we moved from assembly to audio to color to double monitor to effects to learning. Now you can move from one layout to another using this also. Now yeah, and then in case you want to work on a panel and you can't find it here, this is where you select it. All right, for example, my effect is showing now, but I don't want it to show, so I can just unselect it here. All right, and then okay, hold on. Okay, I think it's okay, it's the other way around. Let's say I close my effects panel. I just select these 3 lines, I close panel, but then I want it to show the next time I'm using it. What I can do is come to my windows, then it's no more man, so I cannot select it. All right, and my effect appears again. Then help, if you need any help, let me know. I think that's that. I tried to rush it just so the video isn't long, but even with my rushing, I took my time to explain a lot of things. So I think that's that about the introduction to Premiere, to the basics of Premiere, to the introduction to the layout, the panels, the things you need to know, so it doesn't look like mystery to you, it doesn't look so difficult to you. All right, I hope you get something. I really hope I wasn't too fast. So for those that are interested in After Effects, we'll do After Effects in the next video, then we'll do Premiere again after After Effects, after After Effects. Wow. All right, so I think that's that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you gained something, I hope you learned something, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. As I said, if you have my number, feel free to message me. If you don't, you can just send an email to me and I respond as soon as I see it. Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to turn on the notification button so you don't get to miss out on any of the videos. Now that I've been able to set up, I just God, I will keep uploading frequently. So please subscribe, it's very, very important, and liking helps the video to reach more people. All right, so I think we're good. I think we're done. Thanks for watching again. All right, don't forget to keep learning. Not only here, if you have to learn from other people, go ahead, please. I don't know everything. I'm also learning as I keep working, I keep learning. All right, so thank you, keep learning, and don't forget to keep it real. Peace.